Hi, thanks again for joining. I'm Tim Stingle with Fluid Handling. I want to take you now into the 406, programming it, viewing all the different menus that are in here, and programming it, talking about each parameter and how it's going to pertain to your job. With the 400 House Control series, what we're doing is, with a ModCon boiler, Tekmar will take over the modulation of the boiler. So you will need to go into your boiler control, tell it to accept an external signal. The Tekmar 400 House Control works with either a 0 to 10 volt DC signal or a 4 to 20 milliamp signal. We can tell it in here which one you have. On the 400 House Control, when you power it up, you're going to see View in the upper left-hand corner. That's one of the screens you're going to be able to look at. If you press the menu button, you're going to be able to get to the Adjust menu. Menu again, you're going to see Monitor. We'll go through each one of these as we get to them. And again, Toolbox at the end. We'll talk about that one. Pressing Menu again takes us back to the top. And under View, now you want to press the Item button. Right now we're showing the outdoor temperature is 15 degrees outside. Press the Item button. Now you're going to see your boiler supply water temperature, what is currently being sent out of the boiler for your water temperature. If you press Item again, you're now looking at the boiler target temperature. This is what the boiler is targeting for delivered water temperature to your house based on outdoor temperature and indoor temperature feedback from our thermostats. Pressing Item again is going to show us the boiler modulation percentage. So if we had a boiler on here, we're running, this may show 15%. It's going to show you how it's controlling the boiler, what percentage you are on it. Pressing Item again takes you back to the outdoor menu. So now you're looking at outdoor temperature at 15. Pressing Menu now will take us into the Adjust menu. Here's where you're going to set up the parameters based on the design of your HVAC system. Outdoor design temperature is the design temperature that you have designed your HVAC system at. If you are designing in our area here in Wisconsin, Milwaukee area, you're -10. You get up north by Green Bay and north, you're going to be looking at -15. Go even further, you could be -20. So you need to find out from your designer where he set it. That's going to be your setting here. Pressing Item again is going to get you into the boiler type, whether it's modulation or an on-off boiler. The control can do either one. In this case, we're working with a ModCon boiler. And simply by pressing the up or down arrow will change what's on the screen. If we press the up arrow, obviously nothing because we're at modulation. You press down, on, off. So you would leave it there. In our case, we want ModCon boiler. Boiler design. This is the water temperature at what we are going to be at the -15 if that's your design point outside. So -15, we're targeting 120. That's your setting here. The boiler minimum, in this case being a ModCon boiler, it is off. We don't care about the return water temperature, the colder the better. Cast iron boiler, you might set that to a minimum of 140 to protect the boiler. Boiler motor. Here's where you're getting into the settings for the ModCon boiler. Now, if you would go to our website at fluidh.com, what you can do there is underneath our products, we would have a link to the Tekmar website. You can find out information there on certain boiler manufacturers and where these settings are at, or contact the boiler manufacturer direct. The minimum modulation percentage, that's another setting from the manufacturer that you'll need to find that setting. Again, mod delay, here's another one. And all these parameters are very simple to find from the manufacturer. Flushing is off. Flushing pertains to a different type of system. If you were putting this on and using a water heater to do radiant floor, you turn flushing on, it will actually run each heating zone at least one time a day to stop stagnant water from happening. Warm weather shutdown in the occupied mode. This is during the day, it gets above 70 degrees outside, the heating system will be shut off. No matter what you do with the thermostats, the entire system will go into a warm weather shutdown. You also have a warm weather shutdown unoccupied. So if it's 60 degrees outside in an unoccupied mode, we'll also shut the system down. Domestic hot water priority. With the 400 control, we're now taking control of the domestic hot water system also. We can have an aquastat tell it a call for heat or a sensor. Domestic priority is telling us that when it comes in, it's going to turn off the heating thermostats and go to 100% domestic hot water to get that tank up to temperature. Domestic hot water in an unoccupied mode is off. So you leave the house during the day, nobody's home, it turns the domestic hot water off. Set point. If you were to have an air handler and a set point control on the system, you can set the water temperature you want for that demand. And here we're telling it we want Fahrenheit unless you want to view it in Celsius. Now we're back to our outdoor design again. So that just took you through the settings. And all of these settings are in the manual that comes with the control, that if you go through them, you'll see the same information that I just showed you in the manual. Pressing menu again is now going to take us to the monitor screen. So here we're showing the highest outdoor temperature that the outdoor sensor has seen. In this case, for our demo, has been 35 degrees. Item again is going to show you the outdoor low. It had seen a temperature of 4 degrees outside. It's also going to show you the run hours of the boiler. How many exact hours has the boiler been on heating the home? And in this case, 29 hours. Now this is run time of the domestic hot water pump. So how many hours has your pump been on heating domestic water for a home? Great feature to have when you've got that homeowner that's maybe asking you why it's costing so much to heat their home. You can actually go into the control and get run hours of the boiler and run hours that it's spent in domestic hot water and start to determine if they're taking too many hot tub baths. Here we're going to show your runtime hour in savings, that the unit has been in setback, that it has been in an unoccupied mode, and actually showing you run hours, how many hours you've saved in energy with this control. And energy usage, now we're back to showing you the boiler. We're back to the main screen. Menu again now is going to take us to the toolbox menu. If you are starting up the system, say you've had temporary heat in there in the wintertime, so it's hard to get a good run time to get the boiler to 100% fire, you can go in here, turn on the user test to on. The control will go through each individual relay and turn them on and off a few seconds at a time to make sure that everything is functioning. You can also max heat. Here's where if you want to know you want it running for 2 hours to get everything set up, you can set the max heat on here to 85 degrees and all thermostats. This unit will just run thinking it's trying to get to 85 degrees. And here we're showing it's a 401 and we're showing you the software version that's on the control. So if we were ever to have any issues, we could ask you software version, here's where you would find it. Item again is going to show your access level. You have installer, advanced, and user access levels on here. After you're all said and done and programmed, I would set this to user. So Joe homeowner goes down, he's not going to be able to go in and change all your design parameters that you've spent all the time putting in there. He's only allowed to view certain items within the unit itself. And defaults is off. Defaults is factory defaults. If for any reason you wanted to set it back to where it came from the factory, you'd turn that on. After a few seconds, it'll go back to all factory defaults. Boiler devices, it's telling us how many thermostats we have on this control. And as you can see, devices 4 are 4 thermostats. It's reading all of them. And one way to know if it's reading, when you look at the thermostats, you see 2 arrows going in different directions. That means it's communicating with our control. And you've got history. It's showing me that I've had some devices that were lost and what device it is, which happens to correspond with the appropriate zone too. So if you disconnect the thermostat, a wire gets broke, a wire pops off, a device might get lost, but it's going to tell you which device it is and you need to figure out what's going on. When you're at this stage, if you go there because you've gotten a call and you find you've had an error message, the up and down arrows, if you press and hold them for a few seconds, the system will reset itself and that will be gone, so it doesn't keep popping up on the screen for you. Item again is history number 2, so it's just going to continually show any that we've had on here, and this one only showed 2 at the time, but now I'm back to my main, so I can now set it to view, and you can set the screen to whatever you want it to show when you leave. So that's going through each one of the menus, showing you what the parameters are, where to get the information. For more information, please contact myself at Fluid Handling or call Fluid Handling office and someone will be able to assist you with any of these, getting you literature, any assistance you need. So thank you for your time.